Hey, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be replacing the rear brake pads on my 2020 Ducati Multistrada 1260 Enduro. First, I wish that getting to the air filter on this bike was as easy as replacing these rear brake pads. Second, there were some funny and frustrating moments in the making of this video, so I hope you enjoy the bloopers. These are the OEM brake pads I am replacing, which I only got a little over 8,000 miles on. I will report back later on how long the aftermarket brakes last. I first start by removing the side case so that it's easy to see what I'm doing. Then I place the bike on the center stand so that the rear tire is off the ground. Whenever I remove the rear tire, I always try to make controlled adjustments of the tire alignment bolts so that there is less adjustment when reinstalling. It also makes the final chain tension adjustment easier as you are able to place the bolt back to the original adjustment. I start by loosening the locking nut and then turn the axle adjustment bolt 90 to 180 degrees in the clockwise direction so that it loosens the chain a little bit and allows easy removal of the axle. Once I adjust both the adjustment bolts the same amount, I loosen the axle nut several times and smack it with my hand to break the axle loose. I then pull the axle the rest of the way out and place on a towel to protect and keep it clean. Then I push the tire forward and remove the chain. I then roll the wheel backwards and away from the bike and lay it sprocket side down. I then need to get the caliper piston back to the fully inserted position to allow installation of the new pads. I used a pry bar to gently and slowly push the piston back into the caliper. You can also use a large screwdriver. I just happen to have a small pry bar nearby. I do this by gently turning the pry bar to apply pressure to the piston. You only do this with the old pads in place though. You will damage your new pads if you try to do this with them in place. The piston should smoothly recess back into the caliper. While I'm doing this, I make sure to watch the reservoir for the brake fluid, because if I had added fluid to full and the brake pads were fully worn, then when I push the piston back into the caliper, it will overflow and could damage the system. I then remove the clips securing the brake pad pin and place somewhere safe so that they do not get lost. Then push the pin out and remove the old brake pads. Important note is that the top spring piece likes to fall out. If it does, it just clips back up into the caliper. Make sure that you don't lose this piece. So let me pause here, and do you notice anything wrong? I didn't either until I opened the package and went to install the brake pads, and then noticed that I was given 2 left pads. What the heck? After this experience, I have vowed to never buy another service part for my Ducati from a motorcycle parts place other than my local Ducati dealer. I bought an oil filter and these brake pads at the same time from a national motorcycle parts company, and both were wrong. Very frustrating. So I'm now going to buy from the local Ducati dealer as the parts were the same price and they were correct the first time. So now that I have the correct parts with both a left and a right brake pad, let's get these things installed. So in the back of the brake caliper is this little ledge. This is where the back of the brake pad sits. I start by making sure that the spring clip is pushed up into the caliper. I then place the pin in the caliper so that when I place the left pad, I can easily secure and then grab the right side pad and put it in place. I then separate the pads and pull down on the back to make sure that they are secure. I then secure the caliper pin with the clips, which I previously put in a safe place. I then made sure that the spacers were properly pushed in on each side of the wheel and gently pushed the wheel into place below the caliper. I then cleaned and greased the axle and placed back onto the clean towel. It's important that I now change my gloves, as it is critical that I do not contaminate the new brake pads or brake rotor with grease or oil. I make sure that the pads are separated, and then I position my foot under the wheel to then roll the wheel back onto my foot to get lift and upward force. With the pads separated, the disc will slide into place. As soon as the wheel is lifted up into position, I slide the axle through. Whenever I do maintenance like this, I also always try to take the time to inspect the sprocket and get it cleaned up. After the chain and sprocket are cleaned and lubricated, I then adjust the tension of the chain and tighten the axle nut. Please see my other video for adjusting the chain tension. After you adjust the chain tension and tighten up the axle nut, you're all set to go ride. Thank you again for watching. Make sure to subscribe for future content.